this is a quick video about my savings template. I wasn't really planning to make a video from this initially, but when I posted a story on Instagram, a lot of people messaged me if I can make this template public. So now I just made a public version, and you can see the Notion link down below. So this one is actually for my personal use. I didn't really intend to make this public, so it's not really aesthetic looking. It's just really here to serve its purpose. So now, first, when you open your Notion and download the template, you will see this format over here. So it's just a regular background. You can just change it, and then here we can see this thing. So delete after reading. This page is currently under construction, and it is currently available for my friends at the moment and not for public sharing yet. When you see this, I will be deleting this. Actually, I forgot to delete this. So anyway, going back. So now to use this, you first log in, press duplicate above, which you will see if you press the link below, and you will see the page added to your Notion. So you open your Notion after you press duplicate, but make sure that you are logged in your Notion in your browser. So I'll be giving a small tour. This is actually very straightforward. There's no fancy details here. So if you scroll down, I started this during January, so the date here is January 23 to January 7. So you'll notice here that the intervals are on a weekly basis. So this one is the purpose of it is that whenever I get my allowance weekly, I set aside a certain amount of money. This will actually help me in a way that I already have money set aside. The money I have left, I can spend them for going to cafes or buying personal things, or buying like my little knickknacks like makeup and whatnot, or yarn for crocheting. So that was actually my primary purpose, because since face-to-face classes started, it was hard for me to save, so I made this little thing. So ipon challenge kinda just means savings challenge. So it just basically gives you a certain amount that you want to set aside for a week, and I made my own variation. As you can see here, that the first two cells here are for the first 2 weeks of the January we're in. This is actually the time when I didn't have my classes yet, so I don't have an allowance. That's why I placed there 100 pesos. So here, I would just stick them here if I already placed 100 pesos in my respective container. So you do need a container when you are saving money, especially something that's not transparent, because if you do have a transparent one, it will be easier for you to see the money and be like, oh, maybe I can get money to spend on things. So what we want to do is for you to avoid spending that money, and at the same time that can also serve as an emergency fund if ever. So here on the third week here, my classes actually started. So now I increased my savings money. So now it's 400 for that week. Easily, if you already set aside, you can just tick the box here and just continue it. And now at the on this week here, from February 5 to Feb 11, you can see that it's 250 pesos. So sometimes I do adjust my money. Like let's say this is usually my face-to-face classes week is the one with the lowest savings allotment, if that makes sense. So that it just means that, oh, I am face-to-face, I would need more money to spend, so I can actually give myself a little bit of allowance to spend more, especially if I'm going out with my friends, since that's the only time I usually see my friends and my classmates. So I give myself a leeway to spend a bit more. So that's why it's 250. But there are chances when I feel like I've been spending too much, so I add from my 250 to a 300. Since usually this is my face-to-face week, and then the next week would be my online week, which is higher since I'm just indoors, so I shouldn't be spending a lot. Then next is my online week, then next is my face-to-face week, and then online week, and it just continues as a pattern. And recently I've been just increasing it so that I can force myself to save more. So it just really depends on you. So what you can do is to set a quarterly goal. So let's say for the first quarter of the year, you want to allocate 5,000 or maybe 2,000. So that will help you figure out how much you would want to spread out in your weekly savings. It's better to do it quarterly rather than for the whole year, because it will help you in visualizing better on how much you would want to set aside. Because it's also a mistake that, oh, I want to save 10,000 for that quarter. And if you're a student and your allowance is not that big, it may not be feasible for you to do that. And you might struggle in the end. There's a chance that you might be just making yourself hungry in order to save that much. So as a starting point, just set a budget that you would want and set a goal that you want to achieve for that quarter and adjust along the way. You don't have to be super strict about it, but be sure that you really want to be diligent. Have a checklist like this, and don't be super strict on yourselves, or don't be too lenient, because those two things are the key to this. You really need to set a good boundary that won't make yourself too hard on yourself or too lax on yourself, if that makes sense. So that's how I actually try to view it, because I've already had experiences in the past wherein I was so addicted into giving myself such a strict line, wherein I sacrificed going out a lot and I've sacrificed spending a lot, like on food, and I wasn't able to enjoy that much. So doing your savings challenge, you don't have to give up everything, but that at the same time, you shouldn't do everything. You should find a fine line wherein you say yes or when you say no. So basically, that's my main rule for myself as of this moment, is to have a bullet point. If it ticks the boxes, like, can I afford this hangout? Should I go to this? Will there be a next time? And I just give myself some rules and some room in order to adjust. But going back to this, it's just basically a weekly thing. So if you've already set aside your money, just check this one. So basically, when you get your money, your allowance from your parents or from your part-time job, what you can do is don't spend it yet. Get the chunk that you need from your ipon challenge or your saving challenge and put a check on it after you've set it aside. What I usually do is that I have a canister, an old canister, and I have envelopes inside. So I put them in the envelopes and I place it in the canister and put it away, wherein I can still see it, but it's something that I don't see it every day. Like, does that make sense? Like, I don't see it every day, but I know it's there and I can see it if I want to peek at it. I'm just rambling. But yeah, that's my rule for it. Just put it somewhere where you can reach it if ever you need emergency funds. Especially for those who live in dorms or condominiums by themselves, it's better to have an emergency fund aside if there are chances that your parents or someone else cannot give you money at the very moment. At least you have something set aside. So this one, going back to my Notion, sorry, I went into a tangent. So going back to my Notion, this is actually already set for a weekly basis for the whole year of 2023. So I think I'm going to make one for the next year. So I'll just post that if ever. So yeah, if you've already checked this part, you can just go down and it's already there. And you can see your total here. So if you keep adjusting, if you keep lowering or increasing your savings for that week, you will just see it here. And another portion that you can see on the side are the months that you have already accomplished. Let's say based from this, you've already accomplished January, so you check that. And it gives you a good tracker like, hey, I've saved until January or I've saved until February. That's a good thing. Like, wow, that's such a milestone. And honestly, it looks kind of basic when you look at it on your Notion. But once you've checked it and look at your wallet and be like, oh wow, I've saved so much. And I mostly didn't even notice it because I can still spend on myself and at the same time I can still save. So that's the good thing about it. And if you want a motivator, like if you find it hard to really save and set aside, like it pains your heart to save it, you can put the things that you want to buy. So things that you want to just spend your money, especially if you have a quarterly budget that you're aiming for and a quarterly goal that you're aiming for, you can spend on it using these. Like, this is the part where you can just list the things that you want to buy to help you get motivated. So another thing is that here you can just say, oh, January. You can get what you want to buy from the January savings that you've achieved. So basically, that's actually how you just use this simple Notion template. It's nothing fancy, it's nothing pretty, it's nothing aesthetic. I just really made it to serve its purpose, and that's to help me save. And at the same time, help me spend my money even if I'm still saving. So I don't really want to restrict myself, and I still want to be disciplined. And at the end of the day, I want to have money that I will be able to spend on vacation, especially with my friends and family. So I hope this video helped, and I hope that you will be able to use my Notion template. And if you have any questions, you can just comment down below. And if you are using this template, feel free to tag me on my Instagram account. I would be so happy to see someone using my template. And that's it so far. If you have any questions or if there are any glitches happening to the template, do comment or message me on my Instagram. I will try to remedy it right away. And that's it, and thank you for watching.